it's been a rough day today. We've been had emergency after emergency the last couple of days here, so I'm not even ready for this. But okay, we're going to do VSAT today. And the reason we're going to do VSAT is because they asked me to set up a group for them, which is what today's class was on, so it made perfect sense to me. Okay, so I'm just logging into Boeing's site, and the first thing that we're going to do is create a new group. What they asked me to do is to create a group for the staff at Boeing to log in, where they could see all the work orders, they could see where they were in the priority, and they have the ability to create new work orders. But what we don't want them to have is, so pretty much what we want to give them access to is work management, no inspections, possibly no reporting, no inventory, no administration, no scheduling, no mobile. So we're going to go ahead and get that set up for them. So the first thing I'm going to do, I have to create the new group. I get there by going to Administration, Security, and then to Groups. And then the only thing that I have to do here is determine what I want to name the group. I'm going to click on Manage Group, which is actually like New Group. So I click on it and I'll enter the name. I'm going to say Boeing People. Now with this, I can give them, these people, the ability to put a work order in and maybe not put a priority with it. So that's really where the benefit kind of comes from. The next thing I'm going to do, now that I've created the group, is I'm going to create a test person, just so that in a minute we can log out and then log in as this test person and make sure that they're seeing what we want them to see. So I'm going to go to Administration, Work Management, People. I'm going to go ahead and create a new person. I'm just going to give them the username Test because it's easy for me to remember. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to come enter a password for the account, which is under Additional. So I've created the account, I've saved a password, and now I need to add it to the group. So I'm going to go to Groups, and it shows what groups they're in. They're in the default users group right now. I'm going to add them to Boeing People. Now, most people are in multiple groups. They're in default users and another group, at least two. And the reason for this is whenever we set multiple permissions in here, it always follows the most restrictive category. So if, for instance, right now, default people can see everything, I don't have to remove them from the default users group, but whenever I restrict Boeing People down, it's going to remove these links for everybody that's in the Boeing People group. Not necessarily the default users group, but even though they're in both groups. But say for whatever reason I didn't want default users to see time and materials under the work management tab. If I removed it from there, they wouldn't see, if they're in both of these groups, they wouldn't see any of these tabs because they wouldn't belong there for Boeing People. And then the time and material tab wouldn't be showing because default users doesn't have it. So I'm going to save and exit now that we've created our test user. And we're going to go ahead and start setting the permissions up for that Boeing People group. So the first thing that I want to do is go to the Request Screen Manager, which we've already covered once in a previous session. But we get there through Administration, Work Management, and down to Request Screen Manager. So here I'm going to go ahead and enter the request type. This is what I would be changing with that group. So say I don't like the work orders. I'm going to say for the Boeing group, I do not want them to be able to put, well, let's see what they have access to first. So I put work order. I have to click on work order, and then it brings up the screen settings here on the right. So I see that right now they can see all this information. The point of contact, the contacts, contact email, contact phone, location, equipment, priority. priority is a big one for me because a lot of people want the priority to be now. That's when they want it done. Oh, I'm sorry. This is what everybody sees, though. We're not going to change anything right here because this would change it for everybody. Where we're actually going to change it for just the Boeing group is up here to the top. We see Group Screen Settings. I'm going to click on Group Screen Settings. And this is actually just going to give us checkboxes. So you see the two groups that I've already set up are default users, and I have set up the Vanguard Web Requester group. I'm going to add the Boeing People group. So we can set as many groups as we need in here. But I'm adding Boeing People. And these are the fields that the Boeing People group can see. So if I wanted to remove priority, for instance, see I've already removed it from the web requesters. I just uncheck the box and it auto-saves. You see it saved it up here, said priority was hidden from them. The only thing is you cannot hide anything that is a required field. So for instance, I know target start date was a required field. Even if I uncheck the box, it's still going to put it on the screen because it's required. So now that those are saved, the next thing that we're going to do is go over how to hide entire tabs or just individual links. Now we're going to get there through Administration. We're going back to Security and then to Master Security. Now this screen is it's not too bad. It's pretty easy to navigate once you see it. You have to be patient with it though because it likes to reload every time. So over here on the top left we see Console, and these up at the top are consoles. So I'm going to click on it, and there are our main tabs or consoles. And if I want to hide inspections, which I do, I'm going to click on Inspections. You see this is for the main inspection module. So I can hide individual tabs under the inspections, which is what you see here, Inspection Manager, Inspection Result Search, New Inspection, or New Inspection Batch, which are right here. Or if I wanted to hide the entire group, since I've already clicked on Inspections, I could click on Inspection Module again if I just wanted to make sure, but it says right here Inspection Module. And I want to hide this entire thing from the group Boeing People, because I don't want them to see. Oh, it's on user right now. So good point. You got to make sure to check group on the right. So I want to hide it from Boeing People, and I want to deny them access to it. So now I've denied them access to the inspections module. So the next thing I'm going to deny them access to is going to be inventory. Now a lot of people aren't using inventory, and if you're not, you could always come in here and deny it so that your guys or you don't have to look at these tabs that aren't being used. It can make it a little bit more readable and not so overwhelming. I definitely don't want them to see administration because I don't want them changing anything. And what I'm not sure of is, I'm not sure if I should be applying the changes every time. I think it's going to work just fine without us applying changes every change. Scheduling, again, I don't want them to be changing my PMs or anything, so I'm going to deny them access to that. And then the mobile field, I'm honestly not even sure why that's on here, but I'm definitely going to deny that as well. Now that corresponds with the mobile device app, so if you were using it on your phone. Okay, so I've got the Boeing People removed from everything. I'm going to go ahead and apply the changes now. So the only thing that I've left them so far is work management and reporting. I'm going to go ahead and log out and then log in as temp and see if my settings so far have worked. If I can remember my password. Huh. Maybe I didn't make the group or make the person. I thought I did. You know what it may be? I think the temp user may have been created once before and then it was archived, and so it's probably not letting me log in because it's an archived person. So I will make another one, good refresher, I'm going to Administration, Work Management, and People. And then I'm going to create another new person. I'm going to name it, actually I named it Test. That's what I did. So I was trying to log in with the wrong user. We're going to log in as Test. And very peculiar, but you see I have Work Management, Inspections, and Reporting. I should not have Inspections, so we'll go back and look at why that is. See, everything under Inspections is hidden, but it's still showing the main tab. Under Reporting, I still see all three options. Under Work Management, I still see all 6 options. So I'm going to go ahead and log out and then log back in as me, so maybe we can see why they're seeing Inspections. So I'm logged back in. I'm going back to Work Management, or back to Administration, Security, Master Security, and we'll make sure that it took for the Inventory module. Was it Inventory or no? It was Inspections. I don't remember. We'll check them both. Inspection Manager. See, I must have missed it. It's not over here. So we need to go ahead and add Boeing People to Inspections. Again, I got to make sure to check Groups. Boeing People. I want to deny them access. And then the other thing with the reporting, I don't want them to see all the options. So I'm going to hide some individual ones underneath there. I'm going to go to Reporting now. And what I am going to allow them access to is the dashboard. So I want to click on Enterprise Reports, and I'm going to deny them access to Enterprise Reports. And then I'm going to click on the Reports link, and I'm going to deny them access to the Reports link. Something else that I just noticed when I had it open was under Work Management, I don't really want them to have access to Time and Materials at this point. So I'm going to go into Time and Materials, and I'm going to remove that from them as well. So now I'm going to apply the changes again. I'm going to log out and log back in as my test user. And now you see Inspections is gone. Time and Materials link is missing from right here because we removed that. Under Reporting, the only option they have is Dashboard. And the reason I'm leaving them Dashboard is I'm going to go ahead and set up their dashboards for them so that they can see some of the information that's important to them as managers. So under Work Management, I'm going to go ahead and click New Work Order just to make sure that priority is not an option for them. So I'm going to create a new work order with we'll call it a light request, and we're just going to make sure that priority is indeed missing, and it is not on there. And you see target start date is, even though I unchecked it, because it is a required field. It's got the red line around it, so it wouldn't let you submit the work order if you didn't have it filled in. So that is pretty much it for groups. I do want to talk a little bit to the benefit of having a group, and I will go ahead and I'll show you here on BSATs, but I've created 2 groups at Boeing, and if I come in here to the groups, obviously you can see the benefit in having them in that you can hide certain things from them, you can restrict them down, but other benefits would be like here at Boeing, I've created 2 new groups that are right here. The urgent email list and an emergency email list. Now each of these lists has users assigned to it. So for the emergency email list, it has the 2 supervisors at Boeing, it has myself on it, and it could have some Boeing administration folks on there. The urgent list has the systems coordinator and the local supervisors on it. And what that does is anytime an emergency or urgent work order is submitted, it fires, and it sends an email notification. So I'm going to open up my email and show y'all just an example of what I'm getting right now. So see, this morning I can see I've had 2 emergency work orders that have been submitted at Boeing. So I don't have to get an email telling me every time a work order is open, but for me, only when an emergency work order is open. And it sends me and everyone else that's in the emergency work order group an email. And it contains this information so I can look down and see what the emergency is. So some of these, I think, are not quite true emergencies, but that's why I'm getting the emails, so that we can follow up with it, and it might be a training issue for what it is. But that is definitely a benefit to keep you and your administration informed of what's going on at the account. My reason for putting the administrators on the email is they're going to get sick of seeing all these emails as well, and they're going to start telling their people who are putting in these work orders, that's not an emergency, that's not an emergency. So that's my hopes for the groups. Other than that, that is all I had planned for today. I could probably, let me look at my list. Does anyone have any questions about the groups? Anything I could go into a little more detail?
This is a Boeing site. We like the group feature for the Boeing people. Mr. Larson has access. He's getting those emails now. He's getting the urgent and the emergency emails on his cell phone.
Yeah.
Like I am. So I think it's helping already now that he's getting that feature. And we kind of agreed with everything you said about what we should restrict for the Boeing people.
Yeah.
So could that be a standard setting setup?
Yeah.
A generic one that all sites could use for restricting?
Yeah, I could. I mean, if anyone likes this, I can push that group to any of the other sites if y'all want it. I've pretty much set most of them up. They're just called web requesters. It's this Vanguard web requester group right here. Mm-hmm. They can do it, but I don't remember what they have access to and what they don't by default. But everyone can go in and customize it to what they need. Mm-hmm. So, all right. Well, I guess I will show y'all how to schedule reports then, which is kind of useful. Now, what that is like right now, since I'm in the Boeing site, do you get it on Monday morning, Dave? The open work order report?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So every Monday, if I go to reporting and then reports, you can set these reports up on a schedule. So if you want to see every Monday morning at 8 o'clock, which I think is what we have this report set up as. Also, if I enter your Sprocket and start building reports for you, I'm putting them in this Vanguard Reports category. It keeps it short and to the point. But so if any of these reports Dave wants to get on a scheduled basis, we can pick one. I'm going to say this work status. This is one of my new ones that I really like. And this is raw numbers of how many work orders each of your employees have open. So see, right now I see at Boeing there is one unassigned PM, there's one unassigned work order. So they need to assign an employee to it. And then I can see raw numbers of who has how many open work orders in PMs, how many they have open over 30 days, how many they've closed so far this month, and then how many have been created so far this month. And then at the bottom of this I get a summary of each of them. So say for instance I wanted to get this report every Wednesday at noon. So all I have to do is remember the name of it. So it's called work status. And then I can go to scheduling, schedule report. And I'm going to tell it I want the work status report. So I start typing work, and it's the first one that pops up. So it gives me a preview of this so I can make sure that it's what I want to see. And it is. So I enter my email address that I want it to send to. And then over here on the right, or depending on your screen resolution, it may be below the report window, I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to say it's for work status for Dustin. This way I know who's on the mailing list. I give it a start date, and I'm going to give it a start date of Wednesday, because I said I want it Wednesday at noon. And I always remove the time here. I don't like the time being on there. And then I tell it how often. I want it weekly. I want it every 1 week on Wednesday. And I was pretty sure that there was a time on here. It might be the time that I put in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put 12 p.m. And I'm going to save the scheduled report. And that's all you have to do. So every week on Wednesday, I'm going to get that report. So you see there's also the weekly update on over 30-day work orders. That's the schedule that Dave's getting. If I click on it, you can see who all's getting it. So it's going to me, it's going to Dave Farmer, and that's it. It's just going to the two of us. So every week, Monday morning at 7 a.m., we're getting that emailed to us. So that's a pretty powerful feature too, especially if you get some reports that you really want to see. If you want to see these open work orders, or if you want to see open work orders over 30 days, 14 days, 15 days, just let me know and I'll get the reports built for you. And then you can schedule it yourself so that you start getting your reports every morning automatically. You don't have to do anything. It just shows up in your email inbox. So unless anybody has any questions, I'm going to go ahead and end this session a little early.
No questions so far.
All right. Well, I thank everyone for dialing in again. Sorry for the last minute changes. It's been a busy week out here. So I will see y'all next week.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.